My dad used to tell us this story when we were kids. Back then, I thought it was just another bedtime story. Something meant to scare us a little, teach us something. But now I understand. It was never just a story. It was a warning. And today, I'm going to share that warning with you. Once, there was a father. A simple man. Not rich, not powerful, but strong in ways the world doesn't always notice. He worked double shifts, not because he wanted to, but because he had to. He skipped meals so his children could eat more. He wore the same clothes for years so his kids could have new ones. Birthdays, toys, school fees, everything came before him. And slowly, his sacrifices paid off. His children grew up. They became successful, respected, comfortable. Everything he had ever hoped for came true. But time is a thief. It doesn't ask, it doesn't warn, it just takes. The father grew old. His hands, once strong, began to tremble. His steps slowed down. His voice became quieter. And then came sickness. The same man who once carried everyone now needed help just to stand. And that's when something changed. Not overnight, but slowly, quietly, painfully. To his children, he was no longer the hero. He became a responsibility, a burden. Family gatherings weren't the same anymore. They weren't filled with laughter. They were filled with tension. Conversations shifted from love to inconvenience. Who's taking care of Dad this weekend? I can't. I have plans. I handled him last time. This is getting too much. And with every passing day, the man who gave them everything became something they wanted less and less of. The eldest son watched all of this. At first he stayed silent. Then he grew frustrated. Then angry. Not at himself, not at his siblings, but at the situation, at the inconvenience, at the disruption. One evening he called his brothers and sisters. His voice was calm, but what he said was anything but. I have a solution, a dark, unthinkable solution. I'll take him out on the lake, he said, just me and him. And when we're far enough, I'll make sure he doesn't come back. Silence filled the room. No one said yes, but no one said no. And sometimes, silence is agreement. The next day, the son told his father, let's go for a boat ride. The old man didn't ask questions. He didn't resist. He just nodded, quietly, almost knowingly. That evening, they reached the lake. It was calm, still, covered in a thin layer of mist, the kind of silence that feels heavy. The son rowed the boat. Each stroke of the oar echoed across the water. The father sat behind him, head slightly bowed, not afraid, not confused, just quiet. Then suddenly, the son stopped rowing. The boat drifted gently, and he spoke. Father, we're tired. You're sick. You're dying anyway, but you're making it hard for all of us. His voice cracked slightly, but he continued. I brought you here to end this. There was silence for a few seconds. Any last words? The son asked the father. The father slowly lifted his head. His face was calm, almost peaceful. And then he said, if you're going to do it, take me a little further and a little to the left. The son frowned. Why there? The father's eyes filled with tears. His voice trembled, but not from fear, from truth. The father replied, because that's where the water is deepest, and that is exactly where I pushed my father 30 years ago. Some stories are not meant to entertain. They are meant to remind, because life has a way of coming full circle, and the way you treat those who raised you might just be the way you are treated when your time comes. And sometimes It reaches the innocent too, because someone somewhere digs that hole for themselves. And start the circle. So tell me, don't you believe in karma? Let me know in the comments. And if this story made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Take care of yourself and the people around you. Bye for now.